Money, 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 money. Oh,
Boom.
it's Tuesday. Show me the money. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Yeah, you know what we need? We need the sound effects and all that stuff, like the drum roll and all that.
We need something. We just
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. We
Please.
had a couple of changes that kind of took me away from being able to work on updating the stream and everything. So that will be coming soon.
Yes.
But we have a pretty packed show. We have a guest, Jay Cradeur. Everybody knows and loves Jay. So Jay's coming on in just a few moments. We got a couple of things to run through first. We're going to give you the rundown of what to expect today, and then we will bring Jay on. So first off, let's get right into the list. We're going to announce our winners for the seat cushion. Wow, we had somebody who really blew out when it came to who actually was the top one there. So wow, congratulations. We'll get to those in just a second. After that, we're going to plug again dash cameras because with everything going on, more people need it. There's a crazy story going on in Texas and Austin actually. Where a driver was arrested, and they're trying to get Governor Abbott involved to dismiss the charges against him because he was in a whole crew of people. And if he would have had a dash camera, that probably could have stopped him from getting charged in the first place. So he was doing some self-defense there. So yeah, dash cameras are huge. So we'll talk about that real quick when it comes to it. Also, then we're going to have Jay on. He's going to come on, talk, hang out. And then we're also going to be talking about how Dara went out and played undercover boss. What came from that? Anything good? Was it a publicity stunt, PR? What? We're going to talk about that. We're going to be talking about some rebuttals to that as well. And we're going to get into the age of the algorithmic wage discrimination. And if you don't know what that is, you're going to know. And we've talked about it already on the show. We've kind of proved the pudding, so to speak. So we're going to be talking about that, exactly what it is. An article just came out that Sergio had been in. So we're going to go over that as well, especially when it comes to wage discrimination, especially on these apps. Then we're going to be talking about tipping. Has it gone out under control, or is it something else? Then we're going to be talking about robotaxis. They're coming for you. Man, this one that we're going to be talking about, they're preparing for something that we all kind of feared on and thought about. So I don't know. I might have to take that challenge up, Sergio.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Oh God, yeah. All right, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but and then we're gonna wrap it up with some feel good story, funnies, all that good stuff. So let's get right into the winners today. So Patrick O, 197 combined trips in the DC market. Wow. Congratulations. You won, Patrick. Jeff H from Florida had 137 combined trips. And Donna S, 111 from Uber only. So not driving Lyft.
Look at that.
100.
Thank you, Jeff.
And 11. So
they're donating your money, bro. They're donating for you to show up to Curb before 2024. There you go.
I like that. I'm going to put that into the donation fund. Thanks,
Jeff.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. So,
and
by the way, Patrick O, 197 trips is a lot. It was here. I have the notes here. 161 on Uber, 36 on Lyft.
Wow.
3,500 gross. 3,500 gross.
Nice. Congrats,
Boom,
Patrick.
People.
Making some money out there.
Rideshare. Work your ass off.
Yeah. I want to know how many hours he was out online.
74.
Trip, but
74.
74 hours. Yeah, that's a lot of time to be
combined.
Damn, that's a lot of time to be. But yeah, if you guys are interested in the seat cushion, trust me, both Sergio and I have it. Our butts enjoy it. It's very nice when it comes down to it. So if you're interested, links can be in the description below. Head over there if you want some more information, especially if you have a car that's not sitting well, if it's a little bit older, even just if it's newer, but you've got quite a few miles in it because you're driving rideshare, you're in your car a lot. So definitely getting something. It's going to help protect your seats, but it's also going to help protect you, your back, your butt, all that stuff. So link in the description below if you want to check that out. Let's move on real quick. Let's talk about the DisplayRide. Again, we want to plug this because for you guys, they are going to be wrapping this up on April 15th. There are a couple of things I'll let Sergio talk about with DisplayRide with the dash cameras, and people were not getting them or anything like that. But yes, a dash camera that goes right to the cloud. It's going to be great, especially in the event something happens, somebody tries to grab the camera and throws it away, or takes out the memory card or something. Can't really worry about that when it goes to the cloud, because at that point your face is already plastered. So yeah, DisplayRide is one of those cameras that we do recommend. And again, if you're looking for a nice little deal up until the end of this week at April 15th, it's going to be code RSG at checkout. You get 20% off, so it'll be $20 a month instead of $25. Sergio, if you wanted to answer a couple of things real quick on that too.
Yeah, so I emailed, so we received some comments that a lot of people subscribe, but they're not getting the camera. Number one, I involved the CEO of the company who was on our show a couple of weeks ago. This is when the RSG 20 deal started. I spoke to him personally, but I also told him to go to our video and answer all the comments, such as people are not getting their cameras after subscribing. And there's an automatic email that goes out saying that you're about to be charged $20, right? So he assured me, and then he also, to his credit as the CEO of the company, went and left answers and to all the questions people had. They just received another 1,000 cameras. And so they'll be shipping him out, but he's very involved. He's very hands-on with the company, and your camera is on its way. So sorry for the delay, but and the supply chain problems that we're still experiencing, that's the best they could do. But rest assured, you are not going to get charged until you receive the camera and install it, and then the system is up and running. So there you go. Nathaniel, my brother on wheels. Hello, Nathaniel. Nathaniel is
what's up, Nathaniel?
Yeah.
Nathaniel is our Show Me the Extra Mile Sunshine Award recipient, actually. And that video is coming out on Thursday as well. It was an interview that Sergio had done with Nathaniel. Crazy, amazing story. And when you watch it, you'll understand why he was the winner of this Show Me the Extra Mile Sunshine Award. And for those who are going above and beyond, we will tell you right now, you can go on Show Me the Extra Mile Sunshine Award recipient as well, because it's the next month. It's April. So get your stories into Sergio if you've gone above and beyond. You can email Sergio at sergio@therideshareguy.com. Share your story about how you helped somebody else, went above and beyond, did something that was beyond the call of duty, whatever it might be, just so we can highlight that story, and you may win $100 doing it. So again, that's the Show Me the Extra Mile Sunshine Award.
Okay, it's April 11th, people. It's April 11th. I haven't gotten one story yet for April. I'm panicking now. Okay, seriously. Last month at this time, I had like 4 already. So this is a monthly thing. If you thought it was just a one-time thing, it's not. This is just going to go on and on and on. Okay, so please send me your stories, whatever they are. Screenshot, no screenshot. Just send me the stories, and then we're going to send it to good old Sunshine Man Jeff, and then he's going to pick a winner, and we're going to send you $100. Nathaniel already got his $100 gift card, and I think he spent it already, according to what he emailed me. So
he might have.
We're for real. Seriously, I need your stories. Please send them to me, Sergio@therideshareguy.com.
All right. And with that being said, let's get Jay on. Jay, what's going on?
Oh my God, here he is.
Jay Cradeur.
So the dash cam deal, do you have to buy the camera and then pay $20 a month, or you just pay the $20 a month?
Just $20 a month. They'll send you the camera. You set it up. It uploads to the cloud automatically.
Is it a 1-year agreement? Is it month to month?
It's a 2-year agreement.
2-year agreement. Yeah.
Right. If you do break the agreement, there is an early termination of $50.
That's a great idea. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I'll admit this. I never have used the dash cam in my car because I've never felt threatened. But I can imagine if I worked in a different area of the country or in a different part of, San Francisco, there are certain areas I wouldn't go drive in.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. I think it's the ultimate deterrent for someone
Yeah.
who's thinking of doing any damage.
Well, out of 29,000 and counting trips, there you go, one.
Oh wow, he broke it. 29,001.
29,000.
I'm going for 30. I'm going for 30.
Are you going for 30?
Going for 30 before I leave for Thailand in October. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's see.
Nice.
You got 5 months, 6 months. You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah, I got 30.
Yeah.
What's that? About 26 weeks, about 50 a week. Yeah, I'll get it. Yeah.
And if you can't do it on Rideshare, do it on Uber Eats. Easy money, right?
I abhor doing food delivery. I tried it once. I did it for one. I did one of them. My car smelled like Jack in the Box. I just said, that's it. I'm not doing this.
Man, I love delivery. So
well, that's just like what Risher was saying on his interview that we were talking about last week with the with Lyft not getting into food delivery.
No, that's why I like this guy.
Food.
I know.
Yeah.
I like it. I like the purity of the product. We just deliver people. Yeah.
Yep.
So since you're the veteran of veterans, I don't think anybody in the chat, including me, obviously, or Chris, have 29,001 trips. I don't think anybody does.
Well,
no.
Yeah, I think put your trip counts in for everybody who's watching. How much do you have combined? Both Uber, actually all. So Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Grubhub, whatever your trips are. How many trips do you have completed? Put it in the chat. Let us see. Can you beat 29,001?
Oh,
no one is going to come close to that. So Norma, one of our members says, Jack in the Box sometimes smells better than some passengers. It's true. It's true, Jay.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Some passengers. I'll never forget. I had one guy. I don't know what he did. I think he took his shoes off in the car, and he definitely had not showered. And I had to literally drive and put my nose to the air vent, for the 20 minutes that I was driving, because it was so horrible. Yeah. So sometimes you're right. It's definitely that smelled worse than a Jack in the Box, Big Mac or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? But it's 29,000 trips. That's a lot, man. And so okay, how we all started, right? So you used to write for the Rideshare guy, and then you used to put your numbers up, and I go, it's a super ant.
Right.
I mean,
Sergio was my big critic for the longest time. Anytime I put anything up, I'd catch some shitty response from Sergio.
We got somebody who beat.
Oh, good. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, Emmanuel from Chicago, his 30,600 rides.
Wow! Congratulations.
No, that's our man. Emmanuel. That's our Emmanuel, bro. That's he was in our town hall. That's the king of Chicago. That's the king of the Windy City right there. He kills it. So
36,000 rides. Nice.
30,600, not 36,000. But let's do
He's on the way there, though.
He is.
I wanted to speak to I don't want to hijack your show, but Brian Barnett said, please talk about the ability of passengers to change the ride after you accept it. This exact thing happened to me at the end of my Sunday shift. It was like a 30-minute ride, and it was paying $24. And I was like, that's good. That fits my criteria. And then I get in the car, and she goes, oh, I'm going to have to add a stop. So she adds a stop that's like 10 minutes this way, 10 minutes back to the main track. So 20 extra minutes, right? And it goes from 24 to 27, right? That's like such bullshit.
Oh, they adjusted it though? They adjusted it up?
They adjusted it up by $3, but it took 20 extra minutes.
I know. Well, which platform was it on, Uber or Lyft?
Uber. This was Uber.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. There you go, Chris. They're adjusting up. Thank God. Well, something is better than nothing, because they were not adjusting at all.
A little bit, but it definitely wasn't the same sweet deal that the 24 for a half hour.
Okay, so while you mentioned that, so we had this. We've been talking about this quite a bit, right? So rideshare shouldn't be charity. So if a trip by an added stop by miles or minutes goes longer than the upfront estimate, right? I think they should just go back and pay us by the miles and minutes that they had. Just tack on whatever it was to the upfront. Because I know my rates in LA was 60 cents a mile, 21 cents a minute, right? Before upfront. So if it goes another 5 miles, give me another, $3. Plus if it goes another 20 minutes, give me another $4, right? I mean, what's so difficult about that? as opposed to giving you 30 cents for 40 minutes? What was it?
I know, but they just don't, they don't have to, so they're not going to do that.
Well, maybe they will. Maybe they will.
That's the
So okay, okay. So I love the way you write, and I always comment on your articles, and I did when you were an ant, and now, okay, now it seems like you have joined the Show Me the Money Club cherry picker crew, okay? Because everything you do now, it goes, well, now I'm figuring out $20 every 30 minutes, I just do quality over quantity or whatever, right?
Yes.
So what happened? What happened? So, but look, you know what? I'm going to give this to you on national YouTube channel.
Well,
I think you were doing the right thing when you were anting, actually, because you were taking the money, easy money, accept the trips, get the 500, 600, 700 a week, quest money. And you were doing the right thing.
Back then, I mean, we had a tremendous bonus for number of trips. It didn't matter if they were long trips or short trips. The way I selected things back then was, was I going to have a lot of freeway time? Because freeway time always paid the highest, right? It was before everything was predetermined. It was based on, time and distance. But then I took the break during the pandemic, and then when I came back, and I'm just driving on the weekends, I just started to get a lot more selective and figure out, because when I did an analysis in terms of dollars per hour, there was a difference of a 4x difference. So some rides would pay me, like $5 an hour, and some would pay me, well, the best rides are paying around $30 an hour, and then some were paying like $7.50. So there's a 4-to-1 difference based on my selection. So that's a huge difference. So, and then the best rides, the rides that pay the best are the reserved rides.
Yes.
Which get offered to me. The algorithm only gives me choices from where I live, typically to the airport. But a ride that would normally pay about $18 pays like $30 to $35. So whenever those, I'm going to write an article and make a video about this, but whenever that comes up, I always grab it.
Yep.
Even if it's not quite convenient, because it's kind of like a destination filter. Once you sign up, they kind of give you rides moving towards it. And then they get you there sometimes 20 minutes ahead of time. And what I've discovered is I send a message. I say, I'm on my way. I'm going to be there 15 minutes early. If you want to leave early, I'm okay with that. I'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, they're popping out early because they want to get to the airport. And that saves that 15 or 20 minute wait time, where I'm just in the car.
Wow, that's great advice.
Such a great ride,
Yeah, that's great advice. Good for you. I mean, they're getting ripped a little bit, but that's whatever. That's not my concern. So yeah, that's great advice. Even on the regular trips, I always text my passenger that I'm on my way. I don't want to wait that 5 minutes, which is up to 7 minutes, by the way, now, as you know. I don't want to wait 7 minutes for you to get out of the house, right? I mean, I'm on my way. I'll be there in 4 minutes, so get your butt going. You know what I'm saying?
Huh. Oh, so that's a good idea. In Sacramento, it's still 5 minutes. I mean, I can cancel at 5 minutes and get the cancellation fee.
No, not in LA. But coming back to your, most of those reserve rides are going to airports, right?
Yes.
And most people wake up early anyway. They'll be ready to go. So yeah, it's great advice.
And even with the high rate they're paying, they always tip well too. Because
yes, they do.
There's something about taking people to the airport and talking about trips and travel and how excited you are for them. They just feel good, and they just kind of, I don't know, they just hit you with a decent tip on top of, So if I can get one of those a day, that makes my weekend. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. I had like 2 of them back to back last weekend, which I did. And then it came to like $65 an hour. I'm like, I want to do it, of course. So, but you know what, as you being the veteran, and you've been in it since when, 2014, right?
I did my first ride in December of 2015.
2015. Okay, let's say 2016. So you've been in it for 7 years. I've been, same thing with me. You've seen it all. You've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. You've seen all of it, right? You've written about it. You've experienced it, most importantly. Because a lot of people say stuff, write stuff. They have YouTube channels. They have this, they have that. They don't even drive. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I think the way we gravitate, to all our viewers is because we are actually doing the damn work, because we're writing from firsthand experience as opposed to some fluff, right? So
Right.
what do
Right.
you see? Like, you started, obviously the rates were a lot higher. Then you experienced a couple of rate cuts with the, time and distance model, right?
Mhm.
And then this wonderful thing called UFD showed up. Well, I call it UFD. I call it upfront fares and destination, right? So
Right.
give me that. Give me your opinion about that in general sense. Like what you liked before, what you like now, what you don't like before, and what you don't like now.
Well, what I like now, yeah, I like seeing the information up front so that I can make a determination quickly if it's a ride that I want to take or not. I'm not doing this to, like I was before, where
Yeah.
this was my primary source of revenue. I just do it on the weekends. And as long as I can average $30 an hour, then I feel like it's worth my time. I'll tell you though, the thing about it is I just love it.
Yeah.
When I wake up in the morning on the weekends, I'm like happy, because I know I'm going to do something that I'm good at, and it's not going to require a lot of me. And I'm going to meet some amazing people.
Yeah.
Every day there's one or two people that will share something, say something that I'm going to take with me,
Yeah.
So as long as I can get to $30 an hour, that's kind of like, I don't know if I could only make $20 an hour, I don't think I would do it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where I need to be to have it make sense, with my car and everything.
Right.
But it just has this added benefit that it fulfills me, and it gets me out of the house, and it gets me interacting with people. It gives us a lot of stories to tell, and it makes us interesting. I mean, I think I had a woman in my car on Sunday morning that I picked up in downtown Sacramento. And on the way, the 20-minute ride, she propositioned me to have sex in the car that morning. And it was like, you got to be kidding me. How does this happen,
Well, did you say you're not a morning person, or what happened?
I said, we're going to have dinner first. Yeah.
Yeah. Kiss me first, right?
And I got to say, it took me 29,000 rides for that to happen. But,
oh, Lord.
But,
Dang.
it's just sometimes it's crazy stuff. Sometimes it's, really beautiful, intimate stuff. Sometimes I've had men and women crying in my car. They lost their job, or they're going to a funeral or something. You really get to be with people in a way that's unusual. So many people have said I should do a show. I think I'd have to have my own little taxi business to do it. But where you had cameras and you actually did like an interview. Where you just talked to people.
They had those called Taxi Cab Confessions on
exactly.
HBO.
Exactly. Yeah. That would be an awesome show to bring that back.
Yeah, you could do that. You could do. I mean, I don't know. You could do like Uber Diaries or Uber Stories or whatever. But you know what? Actually, that brings me to this question, right? So you say now you do it on. Sorry. Now you said you do it on the weekends. There's no pressure, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do it for fun more than the money. But how do you like doing it with pressure, doing rideshare with pressure, or deliveries? Actually, deliveries are as big as rideshare these days. With pressure of paying the rent or coming up with the car note and all these expenses, right? Is a lot different than doing it for stories or fun, but still, obviously, you're doing quite a few trips, because if you're going to get to 30,000, you need to do like 150 trips a month, so that's still decent, right?
Yeah.
So you're probably driving what 15, 20 hours a weekend.
Yeah.
So it's still decent. You're not like driving 4 hours a week, right? So to me,
I'm out there. Yeah.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. Like, because I know when you first started to drive, you used to pull like 200-300 or whatever trips, man. I'd be like, why is this guy doing this to himself, right? But then the difference between doing it for a living or with pressure, right, or working towards a plan B, as you beautifully wrote in an article of yours, the 4 types of drivers, right? A, B, C, D, right? Right. And which I love that article. So I was like, everybody has been in a group one time or another, right? So you are A, now you're a D. But tell us a little bit about that difference. Doing it for fun, not for fun, still for money. Obviously, you're still figuring out profitability. You're not going to do it for charity, We're all
Right.
in it for money. We're not in it for like, I don't know, for
No,
getting proposition.
I count on $700 to $800 a weekend. Yeah. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
So, but give me like the mindset of the difference between doing it with a lot of the pressure and no pressure at all.
I don't think there is a difference. I mean,
No?
even when I was driving full time, I didn't feel pressure. I just knew that I would get up at, start driving at 4 a.m. I'd go until 2 p.m. And I did that 5 or 6 days a week. And I knew, that would make me $200 to $2,500. And that's the thing about this job that I think is great, is there isn't a lot of pressure. I don't have a boss. I can do my own hours, and it's my car, and I'm the king of my castle. I'm playing the music I want to play, and I don't think it makes a difference if you're doing it purely for the money or you're doing it, for it's to me, it's the same. I don't really see it any different. The way my mind works, and I think yours does too, Sergio, and I'm not sure about Chris, but I'm always thinking about how do you hack the game, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm always thinking, Friday morning, I'm looking and seeing which bonuses I'm being offered, and should I drive for Lyft? Should I drive for Uber? Should I get up earlier to get that 3 to 4 o'clock, in the morning Lyft bonus that they're offering? So that's just how some of us are. So
can I call you a cherry picker brother of mine now, or should I still call you an aunt?
Oh no, please. Well, you can call me whatever you want, but I'm definitely not. I'm not taking every ride I get.
What is your acceptance rate, by the way?
I don't know. I would say it's
Ooh.
We take pride in our low acceptance rates here. Come on.
Speaking of acceptance rate,
yeah,
I would guess it's around 70%. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, you're still pretty high up there. You're up there.
Okay. Well, at least with my app, when I don't accept too many with Uber, they stop showing me upfront details.
What?
Yeah. Doesn't that happen to everybody?
No,
it's just me.
No,
that's just you.
Well, it depends. I mean, because certain parts of California still have the 510 rule. Not everybody has the upfront.
Oh, you don't have the full upfront. Oh, damn. Okay. No, I decline like 40 in a row, so nothing happens.
Oh no. If I decline too many in a row, then they say, then I get a message, and I'm just going to see how much money there is for the ride.
Yeah.
Don't give me any information.
You have the 5 out of 10, which we had before upfront fares. So you have to accept 5 out of 10, basically 50%.
Yeah.
That's true.
I can't do it too much, but I do it enough that it makes it a significant impact on my revenue per hour earnings. Yeah.
Because you cannot be 100% acceptance if you want to make $30 an hour. It's not going to work. Because they're going to give you garbage. Yeah. So.
No.
So listen, man, I followed you from the first day you started writing for RSG. I probably got on RSG because I heckled you every single time. So I give you all the credit for me being here. Let me tell you that. I mean, you never responded, of course, because you were like, "Who's this idiot over there?" It's like, whatever. But then, I was like,
I rarely read the comments. Probably because of you, Sergio. So, first I wanted to read all the comments, and then I read this guy Sergio shitting all over me. So then I thought, I'm just going to write it, and that's it. And every once in a while, Melissa will say, "Hey Jay, you got a lot of good comments. You might want to check them out." And
Sergio is still
there. I don't know what people say. Once I make that video and put it out, it's out, and that's that.
Right here, Jay. In honor of you, I changed my background today. It says cherry pick.
And
also in honor of you, I wore this t-shirt today. It says, "My time is for sale to the highest bidder."
There you go.
Which you are doing, right? You're doing more often. Yeah. So, hey, man.
Hey, we are all, what's the word? Yeah. We're all opportunists, right? We're going to figure out what we're good at, and then we're going to figure out how we can get the most money per hour for what we're good at. So that's the American way, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, you know what? We love you here, obviously, with all. By the way, next week is our 1 year anniversary.
I saw that. Congratulations.
So are you showing up for 5 minutes? Cameo? Have a whiskey with us? Or what's happening?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm planning.
Well, respond to the damn email there, Jay.
Well, I thought I would hold out till I came on the show and make a big announcement.
See, this turned into the sex proposition now. It's like, respond to the email, please. Come on. So anyway, but you know what?
I also wanted to say that that thing you're doing with the disabled, paying it forward.
Yes.
I had the biggest transformation where I used to pull up, and I hate to say that I'm a jerk, but when I would see somebody in like a wheelchair or a walker, or they had like you go into Safeway and they've got like all these bags, that they want you to haul all these bags. I used to just curse under my breath, and I did not want to be that. I didn't want to be the nice guy. And then I just I think I wrote an article about it, and it really changed my thinking was, what if that were me, right? What if that were me, unable to walk? What if that were me, that I didn't have enough money to, have a car to go shopping to buy, the food for the family? And then I just started to be really generous with it. I got my car set up so I could slip those, wheelchairs and those walkers in my trunk, no problem. And just help these people. And they're so grateful, they're well, some are grateful, some aren't, but most of them are.
Yeah.
Just that, that they're having this nice, ride in my car. I've got a nice car, and they feel good. They feel respected,
Yeah, no, I think, you know what? I mean, you've known me through RSG or whatever. We've done other things. I've done your podcast or whatever for a while now, right? I truly, seriously, I mean, I was very tough on these companies, and I'm still tough on these companies, as the article came out today, which created a shitstorm. But I was like, okay. But long story short, I have met so many amazing, amazing, amazing people through doing Show Me the Money that I'm not a softie, but I've really, really kind of mellowed out now, because I'm going like, man, there are a lot of people with the complete opposite opinion of me doing great work, making money. They're happy the way they do it. They're paying it forward. And, you will please watch that video with our first Show Me the Extra Mile Sunshine Award winner, Nathaniel. You will cry. I literally cried when I read the story. I was like, holy crap, this can't be real. But then you guys will all see the video on Thursday. Mm-hmm. I cried, man. It was like unbelievable. Mm-hmm. So, there are great people out there, great drivers, which Uber and Lyft and all these companies are lucky to have on their platforms, because they're doing amazing work, And to me, it's like, yeah, I think, they do great work. Again, we're all in it for the money. Don't kid yourselves. But, at some point, man, we're all human. We got to help each other, So,
can I ask you guys a question? Because I'm confused. Is there a driver shortage or not?
No,
I heard Dara K say there's no driver shortage because of the economy. More and more people are picking up, driving to make a little extra money to compensate for the price of eggs and things like that.
There was a driver shortage in 2021, big time.
Because of
especially towards the end. Yeah, especially towards the end of 2021, I was averaging like $60-$70 an hour on UberX. And then 2022, there was no driver shortage. And, we should transition into that, Chris, probably, right? Because Jay is hanging out for an hour. We have him for an hour. We have 26 minutes. So,
I mean, the other thing, too, is it's market dependent. So some areas are definitely experiencing more drivers or more saturation, while others can go out there, turn on their apps, and, they're taking rides every minute. Yeah. So it just depends, like, where you are and what's going on and all that stuff. Pretty much as it's always been, but yeah, it's not like how it was in 21 and actually even early 22. Before we started the Show Me the Money Club, it was I remember Sergio, you and I were talking about some of the $700 bonuses that people were getting and all that back then. Now it's a lot less than that.
Yeah,
I had a great bonus on a Friday. I was hungover, and it was a $240 16 ride, right? Do 16 rides.
Guaranteed.
You do 16 rides, you're gonna make $240.
Yeah, I had the same thing.
I only took rides that were like $5, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I did it in like 4 hours.
Yeah. And you wonder how they lose all this money. They lost money. They lost their ass on that.
Yeah.
I have the same thing this week again. I have 11 chips for $160. I'm like, definitely gonna do it. And then on the weekend, they'll probably shoot me another 20 for $300. I'm like, I'm gonna take your money, man. You
I
know, show me the money, I'll drive for you.
$150
Yeah,
in both.
same.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, last week I had a 15 for 220 and then a 15 for 140 this week on Lyft or on Uber.
Yeah. So, you know, but no, there's no driver shortage because, you know, okay, so like he did this Wall Street article, which I was in as well a little bit. So Pritika Rana did this Wall Street Journal article saying that Dara actually got behind the wheel and played the undercover boss for I don't know how long, couple weeks, month, whatever. So, you know, and Pritika, if you're watching, much appreciated. Thank you for the mention. Anyway, so he said he figured this out, but then on every earnings call, Jay and Chris, he says, "Oh, we're not shortage of drivers. We have all the supply we need." But now this article comes out. He drove and he figured out that there was a driver shortage. I'm like, no, sir, there was no driver shortage in late 2022 when he drove in September, you know, of 2022. There was one in 2021. Now, I'm just going to say 2 minutes, my piece, and then you guys take this over. So, Dara, sir, I mean, with all due respect, obviously you're the CEO. What took you 5 years to do this experiment? Number one, because if you were watching anything that I say or we say or write, drivers are complaining about certain things. We do our surveys. They complain about earnings. They complain about safety. They complain about unjust deactivations. What took you 5 years to figure this out? Number one, which this to me then makes it look like a puff piece or a PR piece more than anything else. And secondly, he did only 100 trips. I understand 100 trips is nothing. People do that in a week. And one other thing is that, you know, he it's right there in the article. So I'm just going to throw this out, people. You can comment and do whatever you want with it. He used an alias called Dave K. Now, one, that's against the terms of service, Dara. You should have been deactivated. Okay. Two, you shouldn't even be let on the platform, let alone get deactivated, because you cannot use aliases to get on. And how the heck did they make you pass a background check, or did you actually? So these three questions I would have asked if I was the Wall Street Journal reporter. But obviously, it's like you know, give me some, I'll give you some kind of a thing. So look, he figured out there was a shortage of drivers, what the drivers go through, that the passengers are rude. Hopefully nobody threw up in his car, all this good stuff. I mean, you know, it doesn't take much to do this, Dara. But you know what? Ultimately, I'll give you a hand that you did it. And now you kind of feel what we go through on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And he did it without the pressure, because a lot of people, you know, are under pressure to pay the bills, to pay the car note, to pay the mortgage, to pay the rent. Well, Dara made $24 million last year, so I don't think he has that pressure either. So that's my 2 cents about this article. But I think it was well done. You know, Pritika got the, you know, interview, and I wouldn't have passed on it either if I got the interview, to be honest with you. So there you go. What do you think about this, Jay?
Well, so yeah, he's definitely not doing it for the money. And yeah, this whole, you keep bringing up the pressure. I mean, I think you either have discipline or you don't, right? You say you're going to work 5 days a week or 3 days a week or 2 days a week, and you do it, right? So if that's pressure, yeah, I guess that's pressure, but I just think of it as that's what I do. You know, that's what I do, whether it's for the money or not. You know, I make a commitment to myself to do something, and then you follow through on it. As far as Dara K goes, yeah, I give him a big hand. A lot of people shit on Dara K. I think he's done a pretty good job. If you remember what Uber was like, you know, when he took over, you know, they had this whole corporate environment that was very misogynist, and they had a lot of issues with the old CEO, Travis Kalanick. And it was close. It was like Uber versus Lyft. Now it's like Uber and Lyft is kind of in its wake. And he does stuff like this, you know, going out and driving. I think someone who does 100 rides is going to learn quite a bit about being a driver that they didn't know, you know, like the uncertainty of, you know, did you do a good job? Are you going to get a tip or not? And, you know, pulling up and having to wait 5 minutes, you know, for someone to come out to the car, and how frustrating that can be, you know, and the stress of driving in a town, you know, and not getting into an accident. You know, these are all things someone who doesn't drive doesn't ever think about. And it doesn't take too many rides to, you know, to learn those things. And what he said in this article is that what came out of this is the upfront pricing. So where we can see the time and distance to get, you know, to the pickup, and then the time and distance of the trip.
Yeah.
And that's where we can get very selective about our rides. That gives us a lot of information that we didn't have before. So if that truly came out of this, that's great, because that's been super helpful to all of us.
Yeah.
I question though that because upfront earnings came out before September. I had it in August, and I think it premiered in select markets in like July or something, or late June. So it was well before he actually got behind the wheel. I mean, it could have sped it up in terms of, being able to see that across more cities across or more markets across the country.
Right.
And then even in California, how we were talking with the 5-10 rule, where you have to accept 5 out of the 10 to see that upfront. And then it brought it to, different markets like LA and San Francisco and a couple other ones. Well, the rest of California still has that 5-10 rule, but maybe that helped it. But yeah, I don't think this was upfront earnings entirely because he was driving and saw that, because again, the timing isn't there.
So I'm seeing in the comments, there is no love for Dara K. He is the devil. What, but look, incarnate here.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's okay. Look, if you look at the two separate companies, Uber and Lyft, right? Where Lyft is and where Uber is, and their management teams, clearly Dara is superior to the boys that just left. I mean, clearly, right? Oh yeah, the guy's a master salesman. He is always positive. He's always like uplifting, and he, even in the middle of the pandemic, you would listen to his interviews, you wouldn't even think there would be a pandemic. He'd be like, everything is great. Everything is wonderful.
And he's aggressive. He's just a natural builder. He's he's looking for new markets. He's looking for new stuff. He's always on TV as much as he can. He's talking to Harry. I mean, he's just, all in, right? He's all in. And you don't get that same kind of energy from Lyft. At least
but I think, you know what, though? I think one thing he cannot fix about rideshare or delivery, okay? What would you say to this? Like, do you think both these companies, or all the gig companies, we're a gig channel now. We're gig economy channel. We're not a rideshare channel anymore. So, all these companies, which I know you don't do deliveries, which is completely different, outside your expertise, let's say. But they have a horrible perception, Jay. Why do you think they have a horrible perception? Like, I know you don't read comments, but I do, and I respond, and I think, it engages people on our videos and whatever. I don't respond to 50,000 comments, but I try to do as much as I can. Honestly, if I put like a percentage on it, it'll be like 99% negative.
What does anybody love 100%? I mean, this is a job. This is an opportunity to make money. And if you don't like it, don't do it. Right? If it's not going to pay you enough, don't complain about it. Go find something else to do. That's kind of my attitude at this point. It could be better. Yeah, it's not as good as when I started, and that wasn't as good as it was 4 years before that. They used to get paid 90% of really fat fares. When this thing came out, I didn't get that. And now the time me and Sergio started, that's the glory. That's the glory time. Compared to where we are now. Yeah. But I'm still can make $30 an hour in frickin' Sacramento. It's not terrible. No, and we do have things that we didn't have back then. We have the destination filter now. We have the upfront pricing, and we have cars that get better gas mileage, and so I just don't find complaining valuable. It doesn't enhance my life at all. I tend to focus on the positive. And if something gets negative, then I got to change the channel. I got to go find something else to do that gives me the same kind of, ancillary benefits in addition to the money.
Right. So well, would you, okay. So let's take a poll amongst all three of us. Do you think this was like a PR piece pretty much, or do you think it's going to bring some good? Because he did it in September. So now we're in April. So I know after upfront, okay, first of all, I've been through 4 rate cuts before upfront fares, and specifically anything over 6 miles is a haircut with upfront fares. There's no doubt about it. So because I put 800 on my trips on a spreadsheet, I go like, holy crap. Especially on longer trips, like 20, 30 miles, you're getting killed on both platforms, by the way. So that's 5 rate cuts, right? That's why I have a lot of the scar tissue. That's why the perception of Uber and Lyft is shit to me. Yes. Anyway. And they're not able to, with all this good PR, with all this good stuff, like all the powerful lobbies and whatever, they're not able to change the perception of themselves in the driver community. What do you think they can do to change? Like, obviously he did something good, actually. He drove, right?
Right.
And then he got shit. the Lyft guy drives, he gets shit. I go like, what do you think they can do to change the perception of this, of their companies? I mean,
I don't think they can do much.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start messing with people's pay, you know, I mean, I was super angry. You know, I mean, I sued both of them. You know, I got in a big lawsuit with Uber and I got in a big lawsuit with Lyft, and I can't disclose what came out of it. But, you know, I was like, that's bullshit. You know, this is not right. You know, this is not what I signed up for. You can't control my life. You know, I mean, I went full bore on all that stuff. So I get it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you know, you do have a choice whether you want to continue or not.
Yeah.
You know, and I've chosen to continue because of, you know, what we've already talked about.
Yeah.
You know, it's more than just a job. You know, it's the best job I've ever had. If I could get paid, you know, $100 an hour, you know, I would be doing this full time and loving it. You know, but that's not possible. I'm going to be putting together an article to see, can you still make $100,000? So I'm going to do a day of driving in San Francisco, see what kind of per hour I can
extrapolate that to that. Oh no, you go read two of the articles. I did an article on a driver from Chicago. His name is Boti, right? And he's the highest earning Uber X driver, and it's on the blog. You can read it. And his interview is coming up. And guess what his 1099K and 1099 NEC was?
What was the total? Yeah.
175.
175. The most I ever made was 133.
Yeah. So to me, look, man, it's all commensurate to your work rate. Right. This one thing that I don't like about when drivers complain is they go like, oh, here's my mouse, put the food in it. I'm like, no, man, you got to work, man. There is no such thing as like, you know, oh, I'm not making money. Again, it's 30. If you're making $30 an hour gross, right? And take your expenses out, 25, 24, maybe 23 net, is still 50, 80% above minimum wage, number one. Number two, you know, what should we compare this job to? Like a UPS driver, FedEx driver? I mean, we can't compare ourselves to coders at these high-tech companies. No. And we're not line cooks either. So what is the good comparison here, right? So still, it's good money if, depending on your city, so don't send me the hate mail already. Depending on your city, if you know what you're doing, I think it's still decent. Reasonably decent, you know what I mean? Yes, your hours of max profitability. See, in the old days, the difference, I think, Jay, is we could literally work any hour we wanted and it'll be like peak hour. Now you have to be really selective what hours. You know, before it'd be like so much demand that the prices were so good that it doesn't matter. You open your eyes and start the car and you have a ride already, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's you're right. I have to drive early in the morning to make that. I just that time from like 3:30 in the morning until about 7:30.
Yeah,
that's my best time of the day.
Yeah,
that's where I just keep getting ride after ride after ride.
Yeah,
and you know, if I didn't do that, I couldn't make the money that I.
Well,
made.
you always say it. You feel like you're the only driver on the road at those hours, right?
And there's no traffic. You know, I mean, stoplights are optional. You know, I mean, it's really at that time of the day, there's no one out there. No cars.
So I say it's a PR piece / hopefully some good will come out of it. We'll see what happens. I doubt it, but hey, man, the guy did it.
I don't know. I think it's definitely PR, but I think it's also a way to try to understand certain things, or at least, you know, figure it out. The one thing though I noticed in the article too that he was talking about was how he was surprised that not that many people tipped. So then my question to you would be, how do you get more people to tip? You have to either make it more presentable, you have to, you know, completely change that culture. Because again, before 2017 or 2018, you weren't allowed to tip on Uber through the app itself. So it geared everybody up not to tip from the app. So you got to kind of completely reverse that. And what are you going to do to make it better? Are you going to send an in-app notification? Hey, you just had your driver. Why don't you send him a tip or something? I mean, extra things like that. So, you know, you've had September. You were already in April, almost mid-April. what real changes have actually come from it. So I haven't seen anything. And like I say, the only thing when it came to the upfront earnings, they were already planning on that. Did it just speed it up beforehand? Well, I mean,
well, yeah, I think upfront earnings is a rate cut without a question. Maybe at best, even on the short up to 5 mile trips, and the rest is a rate cut. They can say whatever the heck they want.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, I haven't taken an Uber myself in a while, and I don't really remember how the tips are presented. But everywhere I go now, I've got my phone, right? Got my phone. This is now my money, right?
Yeah.
And every machine I when I go to get coffee, I swipe the machine, and then it just like pops up 10%, 15%, 20%, 25%. That's like, those are the options. And it's like a small little sliver that says no tip, and that would be great if they did, maybe they do. I don't know how the tip shows up for the customer, because I haven't taken
the way it shows up, Jay, is that once you take a trip, right, it doesn't prompt like our tipping culture today, that just you go to Starbucks, the guy makes you coffee, gives it to you, just go like, bro, it's my coffee, I'm here picking it up. I mean, come on, right? But anyway, it makes you kind of feel bad. We're going to talk about that on another segment now. But besides that, what it does is on the next trip that you order, it will say, how was Sergio? Now, there are some drivers that tip and rate you right away as a driver, right? But most of them don't even have their app on when they're driving with you in the car. They're doing some other Facebook, whatever they're doing. So on the next trip that you take, it will pop out, not a warning, but it will pop out like a notice for you saying that, oh, by the way, your last tip was with Jay. How was he as a driver, and would you like to tip? But it still doesn't give you the, percentage or whatever. So that's when the passenger can rate you and tip you. That's why sometimes tips show up late, right?
Right.
And people complain, oh, they're stealing my tips. I'm like, no, bro, that's what's happening, right? So.
Right, I got a tip like a week after the trip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, but usually when I get tips, they come pretty quick. They do come. Right after I drop somebody off.
Yeah, those are the passengers that are engaged with you, and they look, man. If you're a tipper, you're a tipper. If you're not a tipper, you're not a tipper. I mean, that's how it goes. So it's like,
well, yeah, I mean, I can tell. I got pretty good spidey sense when someone's going to tip me, and it's always based on the conversation.
And when they say they're going to tip you on the app.
Oh, that's a no tip for sure.
Right. That's usually not a tip. Yeah. When they overcompensate like that with, that little bullshit guarantee. Yeah. But if I have a good conversation with somebody, and we're buds by the end of the call, that's usually by the end of the ride. That's usually when the tips are going to come my way.
Well, the lady that offered to have sex with you, that was the tip, I think. Right? You just
just the tip.
She did not tip me when I declined her. So we got to the location. She made one more pitch.
Oh Lord.
She wanted me to do something to her, and I was like, no, I can't do that. I got another ride. And she kind of stormed off. So
are you sure
maybe she gave you a one star. 1 star for you, Jay. Did your rating drop like a 10th right after their trip?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because if I were to do that as a driver, I'd be out of a job.
Oh, hell yeah.
Here's a passenger doing it to me.
Yeah.
And I just have to put up with her incessant, requests.
Yeah.
And, am I making you uncomfortable? Do you think I'm pretty? All this stuff she was saying. And as the driver, our hands are kind of tied. We just got to put up with it and wait till they get out of the car and go on to the next one.
Oh, this is a great comment right there. So Tony Driven Dad says, she said, no tip, no tip. But Jay's adorable, man. I mean, I'm shocked that you haven't gotten this within 29,000 trips of yours this proposition before.
No, I've had a few women give me their numbers and say, please call me. Mostly recently. So being an old guy, there's something about I'm hitting my prime,
Yeah.
They're all
better with age, baby.
They're all
Yeah.
into the wise gray-haired wizard. Yeah.
Jeff, you did that already. Thank you for this is the second addition to Chris's flight fund to Herbivore 2024.
Norm Stitz, thank you for the money. Who gets the money?
I don't.
I don't. I think it's going to. Well, that one he said it was going to the fund to get me to Herbivore next year. That way we could do a live in-person Show Me the Money Club.
Invisible Road River Van says they love old guys. Shut up, bro. We get better with age.
Well, I'll tell you.
There's the blue pill always.
I'm not going to tell you. Yeah, never mind.
Maybe we got to get him to have a couple of drinks on next week's show.
Yeah. Maybe next week.
Right. Yeah, let me have some of that whiskey, that Japanese whiskey. Is that what it is?
Well, hey, I haven't gotten it yet. Harry was drinking it on Twitter. I go like, "Hey man, what's on? What's happening? Where's my whiskey?" I'm like, "Okay, I don't know." Well, he called me today. He goes like, "I go, where's the whiskey?" He goes, he said something which I didn't listen to.
A Ram KH. I caught passengers in a sexual act this Saturday. First time in my Uber career after 10 years. Yeah, that's happened to me.
Well, it has happened to me too.
Where the guy was like 5 a.m. The guy's like back there with the coat over, and he's up against her, and she's just like, "No, we can't do this," And I hear her, and he's like, "Oh, come on." So there was no penetration or anything, but he wanted to. She said no, and then she gave me a $20 tip because I had to put up with listening to the whole thing.
Well, the bullshit, yeah. I wonder if Dara had one of those trips.
I doubt it. But that'd be funny.
That in 100 trips.
Yeah. Anyway, so are you going to leave us, or are you going to
leave you guys? But I'll be back next week.
Hey. Yeah, man.
All right.
Please. Yeah. By the way, we're all having drinks, so bring a drink. If the boss does not get us all whiskey, then we'll just get our own whiskey. I don't know what to say. So.
I was thinking about getting Blue Label, but you told me that Japanese whiskey was like so much better. So I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it in the shipping from Harry over here.
No, that Japanese whiskey is like top 5 in the world. That Blue Label is nothing next to that thing. So it's like that thing is good.
Jay, turn up the radio.
Jay, you know what? We love you. Obviously, I mean, man, I'm your biggest fan. Seriously, I read everything you write, and I go like, wow, why didn't I think of this? and then, thank you for becoming a cherry picker right here. After 28,000 trips, you figured it out, Jay. So we love you. Thank you for showing up. And
thanks, guys. It was really fun. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jay. Have a good one.
Oh yeah. I'll see you all next week. Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. Thank you, Jay, for coming on. He is going to be on next week as well. He's also got a video coming out tomorrow. So we'll be able to go over that. So make sure you stay tuned for that. His video will be out tomorrow. And then, let's move on. How about we talk about, you want to go on to the rebuttals of this whole Dara?
Real quick, look, man, I think I give kudos to the guy because he drove, but obviously it felt like a puff piece to me. Okay, nothing will change. Look, I'm being a realist. I wish everything changed, and you made the point very correctly. You said he did this in September. What has changed in September? We're still getting fake names. He even signed up with a fake name, let alone we're just getting fake names.
What the hell?
I was like, what's going on here? I'm not sure. And then I mean, look, 100 trips is it's gonna teach you some stuff. He complained about he was on a scooter, he almost got killed doing a food delivery. I'm like, yeah, welcome to the club. One time the algorithm sent him all the way across the bridge at morning rush hour. He goes, I will never go across the bridge again. I go, see, sir, this is what we're dealing with. Now, imagine, look, I'm not going to speculate and say that they adjusted his algo so he gets all the juicy trips. This is what I would like him to do, okay? If he really wants to make headway with drivers, I would put all my numbers for those 100 trips up, because, look, they talk about $36 an hour active time. I go, let's see if he made $36 an hour. Let's see how many trips he took. Let's see how many miles he
Let's see what
drove.
his
Let's see if he was profitable.
utilization.
All these things, I would put those up if I was him, and then I'll have much more
Yeah.
respect for this.
Then my question, I actually just want to know one number from him. What was his acceptance rate?
Good question.
That's all I want to know. I want to know, what is his acceptance rate?
What do you
Because if
think
it
it
was
was? What do you think
anything
it was?
less than 100%, then
What do you think it was?
I am gonna say honestly,
I
he
say
probably
90. I'm gonna say 90%.
I'm gonna say it's in the 90s, and it's probably gonna be, if I had to take a best guess, I would say probably 98 or 99%, and he's
Okay.
gonna blame it on, it went too quick, and I missed the thing because I was on the phone with somebody because there was an outage or whatever he blamed it on during those trips in the article.
Yeah, and Aaron Gordon is a good friend, and he look, he's not an Uber lover, so we know that. And he tore this article up. I mean, look, Pridika did a great job. I wouldn't have turned this down if I had the opportunity. I would have pushed for a little bit different things, but she talked to me for 2 hours about this, and I gave her all the juice, and then she only used like a little paragraph of what I said, which is fine, whatever, no big deal. I mentioned his Wall Street Journal is another feather in my cap, so much appreciated, Pridika. Thank you. So Aaron Gordon, on the other hand, is no Uber lover. Okay, so we know that. So he goes, it is presented, this article, Wall Street article, is presented as a kind of undercover boss narrative. Khosrow drove under the name Dave K someone to the airport. Khosrow drove someone to Oakland and gets stuck in traffic. Khosrow curates a Spotify playlist for his riders. DK forgot someone's drink when he's doing food delivery, then blamed it on the app, just like everybody else does. Unlike a regular Uber driver who merely gets slammed with a bad rating, and a 0 tip, DK pinged an executive to change the app design. Yeah, app design is not working. FYI, he got tip baited. Okay, Uber Eats has that thing that the customer can change or take the tip out completely after an hour. That's still there, Dara. You got tip baited. I would think the first thing I would do is get rid of that hour. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, you know what? You keep it open, but once you put in a tip, that's locked. And then if you want to add the tip after, you have time, an hour after the fact, to be able to add more to the tip if you want. So let's say you just do a $5 tip, and then something happened, things changed, and you wanted to add more at that point. But at least that way you can't take away the original tip itself.
I agree 100%. Like, if you're not going to tip, don't tip. Don't mess with my shit. Anyway, and then he goes, DK realizes it actually sucks to not know how much you're going to be paid before you accept a ride and where the ride will go. You know what we have to do on this, Chris? We have to fact check. I need to talk to some San Francisco drivers, because he drove in San Francisco. Did we have upfront in San Francisco? If anybody's in San Francisco now or later, please shoot me an email. Did you have upfront fares in San Francisco, let's say September 1? Because he drove in September. No?
I'm pretty sure. Because when did it switch for you? It was the same time that it switched.
Yeah, like October, like mid-October.
Yeah, so it would have been the same time.
Yeah, it
so
could be. No,
that could have been the change there.
Yeah, but look at Jay they still has the 5 out of 10, and there is a neighboring county to me called Ventura County. They still have 5 out of 10 there as well. So they, it's different in even like city to city. So I don't know. So. He goes, Aaron continues saying this was a big bet, that the whole driver classification customer issue would solve itself by getting rid of the driver. It reminds me of the summer of production hell Tesla underwent in 2018. So he continues, and or DK told Wall Street Journal, I think that this I tweeted and put on understatement of the decade. I think this got like 17,000 views, and I only have like 600 Twitter followers. So it got retweeted. You know how Twitter is. It goes blah, 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 blah. And then he said this. I'm going like, that's bullshit. But anyway. Or Khosrow told the Wall Street Journal, I think that the industry as a whole, to some extent, has taken drivers for granted. Really, DK? Really? See, this is your perception. This is why the perception of Uber and Lyft are horrible in the driver community. To some extent, really? Huh? Come on, man. Anyway.
It's because they don't know. They're in their Eiffel Towers drinking their Japanese whiskey, and you know, they don't know what drivers are going through. They're not out on the road all of the time understanding it.
6 months ago, remember we did this about DoorDash, you know, engineers complaining that they were forced to go out and deliver. We talked about this 6 months ago while actually this idiot was doing it. So do you think it was like they listened, they go like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's all go out and drive as executive? Because it was like about then, right? 6-8 months ago that we said it should be mandatory. Everybody should go drive and deliver to figure out what we're going through, right?
Well, maybe. Hey, do we have a guy in the chat named Dave K? we should look it back and see.
Oh man, you hit that one. Oh my God, Dave K deactivated. I don't even know how. Oh, there you go. That's a King DK. So,
well, you know what? Hey. If they're watching the show and they got the idea from the show, good for them. But now, if you're watching the show, my question to you is, what are you going to do to make the changes that you noticed on the issues that you have mentioned? See, if you don't change anything and you just say, oh, well, this is what I noticed and don't do anything about it, well, then that's part of the problem. And you're still continuing to let that problem go. Yeah. So the biggest thing is try to come up with things that'll fix it. Better yet, talk to drivers and say, hey, we understand certain things are problematic. How do you think it would help to be fixed? And then you actually have actual conversations with drivers. Now, I'm not saying, I know most drivers are going to say, well, pay us more. That's obviously the number one thing. But there are other things too in the app and within the overall experience that can make it better overall. Like I said, with the tipping, you know, you said flat out, DK, that I was surprised how many people didn't tip. Well, what are you doing to be able to help that get a little bit more in people's faces? You know, sending an in-app notification, you know, having them, you know, have to open up their apps in order to finish out something or whatever it might be. Yeah. I mean, there's quite a few different things there when it comes to it. Beyond that, what other problems and things did he see? And yeah, I think that comes down to the biggest thing. You know, having conversations with drivers who are out there, who are doing it, who are in and out, and not just in one spot, not just in San Francisco, not just in LA, not just in Chicago, but in, you know, Memphis and in Miami and, you know, different areas within the country. You can see really what's going on then at that point, or what areas need tailoring.
But partner, they have Uber Crew.
That's a PR stunt. That's just nothing. Let's be real.
Megan is here. She's one of our members, and she attended an Uber Crew last week, which I didn't. I had done too. I go like, I can't do it. And she emails me. She emails me. She goes like, why did I waste my 2 hours on this? There was like nothing happening. I go, what do you think?
Well, we live streamed the one from.
Yeah, I know. Oh
my God, it was almost last year. It was like, what is the point of this? And you know, even the Lyft driver advisory council was just an absolute joke too. So like all of that is just to make it seem like, oh yeah, we're doing real outreach. But in fact, actually
it's bullshit.
Do some changes, make some real changes and say, hey, look, you know, this is something that, because here's the thing, if you actually brought on 100 drivers and literally sat down and got a Zoom conference with them, and had like a legitimate, like 30-minute to an hour discussion, you know, asking some questions, getting some feedback, taking that feedback and actually incorporating it into something, or even taking drivers and flying them to Uber headquarters to sit down and talk or anything like that, and actually come up with like plans. Do you know how much of a PR stunt that could be? But you actually truly make change on top of it, which can make the platform better. I've always said, if you take care of your drivers, they're going to give the riders a better experience, which means they're going to actually come back because they like it better than the other one because they had a good experience. You know, they're happier, drivers are happier, the company as a whole is going to be better. So yeah, you can actually have a win-win-win. You just have to actually invest the time and come up with strategies in order to make that happen. You do that, and you could start sailing ahead even further from Lyft.
Yeah, well, I agree. So
or
you know,
Lyft could sail ahead from Uber.
summarizing all this, so he's taking credit for the upfront fares. Okay, so let's give him that. Okay, now he got tip baited, and he still hasn't changed that. So I'm just kind of saying what he went through in the article, right, as a driver or delivery driver, and what has changed in the app since he did this, right? So the tip baiting is still there. Okay, the customer still has an hour to take the tip back. Okay, so that hasn't changed. So why not, Mr. Kosher Shai? I think that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Then he figured out people don't tip. Okay, what are you doing about it? Not much. He is taking the credit for upfront fares. He goes, I hated not knowing where I was going. Well, yeah, we all did for 11 years. So, I don't know. No, I guess better late than
And
never.
not driving over the Oakland Bridge.
Yeah, not driving in the morning rush hour. Yeah, there you go. So, okay. So, there are a lot of things he discovered during this adventure. So what has changed? I don't think much has changed, has it? I'm not sure. So.
No, I haven't seen much changes. I mean, the only thing I may have seen is there's a few bonuses more than I thought that I would normally get, but that also could be the amount of drivers in the area versus the amount of rides coming in. So beyond that, I don't know. I haven't really seen too many changes beyond that.
Yeah, ultimately on this, please go read both articles, Aaron Gordon's and Pritika's on Wall Street Journal. It may be behind the paywall. You guys all know how to deal with paywalls. Okay, archive.ph, and then it's there, so you can read it without the paywall. I think, the rebuttal was good, and I got a lot of play. I'm going to give you that. Poor David Risher on the other side is driving too, but he didn't get any play with him. He got some Twitter play out of it, but then, the big tree, little tree.
But you know what? He wasn't even CEO yet, and he started driving.
Yes.
So you got to give him that. You got to give him credit there when it came to it, because he's already starting to try to understand the product a little bit more. Maybe because he's coming from Amazon, doesn't have the rideshare experience, so he's trying to kind of like dive in deep. And I get that. I understand that. But the other thing, wasn't John Zimmer who would go out on New Year's and drive all the time?
He said
every
so.
New Year's saying that. I mean, pictures and dash cams show a different story, or could show a true story. But I mean, hey, if he's going out and doing it, at least he's understanding what drivers can go through, especially on a party night. So there's a lot of things there when it comes down to it.
Yeah, I agree with both Jeff and Megan. So there you go. So that's it. That's
all right.
DK's
Well, let's
adventure.
talk about an article that came out today, a little bit ago. And you text me and you're like, "Oh, it's on.
It's on.
It's on."
And, okay, if my phone did not blow up today, it's not going to blow up any other day. Because this article showed up at 8:00 at LA Times, and you are more welcome to go read it. I mean, literally, I think half is me, right?
Quite a bit was in you talking about everything. So this is pretty much the algorithmic wage discrimination. This is the title of today's show, of course. And if you don't know what it is, you're going to. I mean, if you've been watching the show a little bit, you know what it is.
Look, I mean, we talk about this quite a bit. We did, segments in our Show Me the Money about this, about training, how they go positive and negative reinforcement. But ultimately, we're all, the victims of this algorithm that decides what an upfront fare should be for any given trip in a millisecond. Okay. There is no rhyme or reason. Before, we used to know exactly what we were going to make when we accepted the trip, because we knew how long it was and how long it was going to take in mileage and time. Well, that's out of the window. So now they've decided, okay, we have to recreate the wheel. I'm like, no, no need. But let's say they did. And look, we do a lot of good stuff on the show, okay? And I think one of the best work, me and Chris, specifically Chris, editing the damn videos for hours and hours, it was when we did the comparison between drivers when their phones were next to each other, okay? So Brian Merchant from LA Times is a great friend. I've known him for a while. We met at Curbivore. And, he rang me up a few weeks ago, and he says, what do you have about this? I'm doing this article with Vina Dubal. Vina, if you're watching this, you shine me off on the 28th. Now, I'm being honest with you. I would love to have you on, because this article partly is literally, okay, they both are saying the same thing, that algorithmic wage discrimination is happening. that certain drivers are getting less on identical trips. And according to Vina and her research, certain ethnic groups and certain genders are getting less pay because the algorithm is discriminating against them. I told Brian, I go, Brian, I'm not going to touch that part because I have no clue, but I have this evidence in my hand. And he said, what is it? So I sent him the whole file. So we had done these tests with two Chicago brothers sitting side by side, and they were getting ridiculously different offers for the exact same trip. It's on our channel, very popular. Go check it out. Then at Curbivore, we had 60, 70 drivers there. Well, what do drivers do when they get together? We flipped our Uber apps on, and Chris, it took him 10 days or whatever it was to sync everything, match, so Uber cannot come back and say, oh, by the way, this is all photoshopped or whatever. And we trust our work, and we do good work. And then we put that video up, and that went crazy, right? We had 4 drivers side by side. All 4 of us got all different prices for the exact same trip. Now, this talks about that why should it be that way? It shouldn't be that way, right? For the same trip, under the same circumstances, both drivers should get the same fare. Well, not so much, because I believe, and our good old Professor Len Sherman believes, that, you know, according to your habits, the algorithm is learning and feeding you trips at a cost that you think you're going to take. And this article is all about that. So he literally put everything that we have in there. If all these links, you know, Curbivore got a link, RSG got a link, you know, our Chicago video got a link, and the other snippet got a link, the one with 4 drivers. And I'm quoted pretty much throughout the article, which, again, Brian, I appreciate it. Looking forward to working with you again. And it was a shitstorm on my phone when I woke up this morning. I was like 100 texts, 150 emails. I go like, oh, wow, something is happening. Then I thought Harry fired me. And then I'm thinking like all the haters are coming out and saying, good, see, you got fired, you're a piece of shit. I go like, no, you know what? Actually, Harry did call today. And then he goes, man, he goes, this is so great. What you guys did was, Chris and I, so Vina did not have any data to support her claim that there is algorithmic wage discrimination going on. Brian did not have it either. So where do we come in? You know, we're like this little Tetris piece that fits perfectly, right? Okay. Oh my God. Jeff. Come on, Jeff. Jeff, thank you, buddy. Man,
Jeff,
we're gonna send you the chair. You don't have to pay for the chair.
And Clint,
thank you, Jeff.
Clint's Outdoor Adventure. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, much appreciated. So it comes out that Harry goes, you know, he goes, I'm so proud of you guys because they didn't have any proof, but he goes, your stuff was so good that you literally proved their point for them. I go, holy shit. I go, coming from Harry, by the way, Harry, are you here? I know you were here. Coming from Harry, man, that's a compliment. Let me tell you something, because Harry looks into this stuff. And long story short, I think this is an amazingly well done article with Chris and my help, Show Me the Money's help. All our stuff is in there, man.
The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding. You can't lie about numbers. So this is, again, we're going to keep doing this, right? Honestly, I don't even want to talk about it. I want to take the victory lap on this, Chris, and so should you. You know what? I'm proud of this. That we're in LA Times, and it ain't easy to get into LA Times, people. It's so. And final word on this is this test is going to continue. We're going to do it. Lyft on next. Lyft, you're not safe.
Yep.
We're going to do Lyft next, and then we're going to do the passenger next. I mean, look, you know. Do you think, Chris, honestly, we have daily conversation, texting at least with Chris, right? And he, you know, we always talk about it. I go, should we put this up? Should we not put this up? Is this reasonable? Is this decent sample size? Whatever. Besides that, though, right? My theory has always been, from the first day I'm driving, is that every driver has a little file. Every driver gets their offers according to their acceptance rate, cancellation rate, their habits, because the algorithm has learned your habits. Okay. So to me, you know, much appreciated, Brian. Thank you. You know, we take the victory lap on this, and I think our data speaks for itself. So more to come. And thank you for, including us in LA Times.
No, it was cool to see that. I mean, the thing is, I think everybody's kind of like working on the same thing to try to understand it more. And obviously, you and I are going to try to understand it as much as we can, because everybody who's watching, everybody who's listening, you know, you come in here, you want to know, you know, what's going on, the news, the updates, the things that are happening, you know, strategies, all that stuff. And we want to be able to, you know, figure out the rules of the game, because they completely changed the game. So we got to figure out the rules in order to know what's exactly going on. And then that way we can say more definitively. So with those two tests, and there were a couple of people that are like, what's this matter, showing the 4 phones against each other. It matters quite a bit, because that's a big thing when it comes down to, why should I get paid more than Sergio, or Sergio get paid more than me for the same exact ride at the same exact time? It's just if one decided to take it or not.
That's
for doing
what
the same,
talking about.
and for doing the exact same type of work, you know, you should be getting paid the same. Everybody should be getting paid the same. You know, there was how many years of people trying to get paid, you know, roughly the same when it comes to certain things. Obviously, there's large discrepancies on the type of job, but when you're doing the exact same job, you should be getting paid the same. Not only that,
actually,
you should also. But
you know,
hold on. Let me finish this. Let me finish. Hold on. One more thing. Let me finish this point.
Yeah.
The other thing is, besides just me or Sergio getting paid differently for the ride, why would I get paid differently for the same ride that I may take down the road, whether it's tomorrow or the following day? You know, you are going to get paid differently specifically for that ride on that particular time. So that's the other thing. When it comes down to it, is it a dime difference? Is it a nickel difference? Well, I want that dime. I want that nickel, because over how many rides, billions of rides that they do, maybe hundreds of rides that you may do, that does add up over time.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that, you know, I had conversations with a lot of people about this today, and they said, look, man, even if you're working at McDonald's, some employee, W-2 employee, may get, you know, $17.50 for the same work as the other one may get 18, but there's seniority involved. There's a whole bunch of things involved in the W-2 world. So I don't think it's applicable. However, on a job as mundane as people think they are, picking up from A, dropping off point B under the same circumstances, you expect to get, you know, to be paid the same, right? Now, to be honest with you, Chris, if this was if we did not do this test when there was time and distance, because under time and distance, right, we knew what we were going to get paid in LA. So the trip should have paid the same. When upfront fare showed up, everything changed, right? And that's when we woke up to the idea that, you know what, maybe people are just getting paid differently for the same job, which is, look, I don't know the legality of this, and I'm not going to talk about it, because I will talk to legal scholars before I say anything on this show. At best, it's shady, and then it's unethical and all that good stuff. But nothing else is expected from these companies, and there's more to come. So, Brian, thank you so much. Thank you, much appreciated. And look forward to working with you again. And, you know, the problem with this, Chris, Vina's point was, granted, she didn't have the proof that people were getting paid differently. Her concern is, going forward, AI now is definitely going to get involved in this pay structure, that the discrimination, it could be built in, and it could be applied to every job now, as opposed to just to gig economy, right?
Yep.
And that's the bigger picture she's trying to draw here, right? And, you know, Vina, we have to do the show, Vina. You have to come on. So there you go.
Yep. And not only that, we are going to be continuously testing this, because the big thing is, we want to run numbers, and we want to see how the numbers may change over time. Like we said, way back when upfront fares first came out, I said more specifically, I said, well, what's going to happen 6 months, a year down the road? Are they going to condition you as a driver to start accepting lower and lower and giving yourself pay cuts over time? Or are they going to kind of, you know, play this game back and forth? So we're definitely taking the numbers of a lot of different things and trying to compare it. You know, like, you know, the different things that, Sergio, you have, the 800 trips that you got built up in your repertoire, when it comes to your database and spreadsheet of everything. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking at. So there may or may not be a Chicago thing happening soon. So maybe some people with Chicago, if you'd like to get together, I may be there next, actually, Cinco de
Jeff,
Mayo weekend.
Jeff must have hit the lottery. I just decided.
Oh
Jeff
my
hit
goodness.
Jeff, we thank
Oh.
you, man. Much appreciated. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate
You
it.
know
That's
what?
awesome.
I mean, obviously the money is the money, but more than that, you know, I respect your opinion. I know who you are, obviously, and you know, I mean, that means the world to me. Right? With the comment, actually, more than anything else, right? So,
Not only
and
that,
by the
support
way,
too.
Uber did respond to Brian, and they said they're both full of shit. Literally, not literally, but you know, they said, well, they have no evidence to support it, and then Brian squeezed our, you know, stuff in there.
Ding, ding, ding.
And then
We do.
Uber did directly, by the way, they did not directly said, oh, the other guys are full of shit either. They did not say that. They just said Vina is full of shit because we don't do anything like this. So they literally said to Vina's comment that everybody's getting different pricing. Uber said to her comment, it's in the article. You can read it. Please go read it. Uber said, no, we don't do anything like that. And then Brian put our shit in there. And then they go like,
Well,
what say you now? And I'm like,
I
let's see what they come up with.
I think that's called check at this point.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it checkmate.
No,
I would
there's
call
no
it
mate.
check.
We're not going after mate yet.
No. I think that's check in the game of chess. But yes, in Cinco de Mayo that weekend, I'm going to be in Chicago. So a couple of Chicago drivers out there, if you want to get together, we could try running this test again within Chicago with a couple of different things. And then, yeah, we can continue seeing what's going on and show a little bit more. All right. And with that being said, let's move on to our next. You know, one of the things that we always talk about is why don't rideshare drivers get tipped? You know, you hear, oh, I'll tip you in the app. But the problem is
bullshit.
You don't get tipped in the app. We know. Actually, you know what? I got called out one time on it before.
Jeff does.
Like, oh, I'll tip you on the app. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. She's like, excuse me? And I said, do you know how many times I've been told that I'll be tipped in the app? And I'm like, if I had $1 for every time somebody said that, I would have hundreds of dollars right now.
One star for you.
No, she actually ended up tipping me in the app.
Oh, you made her feel bad.
She called me out, and I'm like, look, this is what's going on. Do you understand? So,
speaking of the devil, the Sunshine Man is here with the tipping record of United States of America at 45%. Jeff, I hate you.
But either way, well, tipping on its own is
out of control.
Always appreciated when it comes to this, because unfortunately rates continue to go down and prices of everything else continue to go up. So there's got to be a happy medium in between, and the tip can help go with that when it comes to that happy medium in between. But I don't know about you, but I go to Five Guys, I get food. I order my food, I walk up, tell the person my order, and then I pay with my card. Yeah. And then it shows me, would you like to tip?
Yeah.
And 15, 25%. Or in the corner, it says, no, thanks. Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, I tip people according to probably what you should be tipped. Like your bartender, your wait staff. So, people who are waiting on you when you go out, your coat person, people who are doing services for you. When you're checking somebody out, I could bring in the damn thing and do it myself. You're making the food. Delivery driver, rideshare driver, the people who should be tipped should get tipped. But it's gone much more than that.
Yeah, it's gone crazy. Yeah,
it's gone crazy.
I am with you. I'm with you on that. I mean, look, man, I saw this on CNBC. I'm like, it's very, very proper for our times now. Tipping in the United States has gotten out of control. 100% agree. I'm not sure if fast food chains have that yet, but a lot of other like Five Guys or Habit or In-N-Out or whatever, they have it now. I'm like, or Starbucks, or I'm like, bro, the coffee cost me already $9 for water, and I'm like, I'm not sure. But anyway, so during the 1950s, people commonly tipped 10% of the bill. By the 70s and 80s, that percentage had jumped to 15%. In 2023, people typically tip anywhere from 15 to 25%. Consumers on average said they tip more than 21%. Okay. So there was a comment here of Thomas Farley, and he says, what we're seeing now nationwide is something that is known as tipflation. I love that word. Tipflation from tip and inflation, tipflation.
Yep.
At every opportunity, we're being presented with a tablet that asking us how much we like to tip. I agree. You know what? I have a great idea here, Chris. How about we put tablets in the back headrest, and it says, how would you like to tip on this Uber ride or something? You know,
dude, I was thinking about something like that before, like actually just building up an app that'll like connect a Stripe account or something.
Yeah, bro.
And you could just tip in there and then scan your card or something. Because at least that way you could at least try to get a tip. Or better yet, you keep the doors locked with the childproof on, and you say you go back behind them, and you're like, all right, hey, you got to sweeten the pot if you want to get out.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Please do not do that. That was for entertainment purposes and laughter only.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? Maybe we should talk to Uber about this. You know, give us some tablets with the tip percentage like Starbucks does. The coronavirus pandemic put more upward pressure on tipping. Agree. Because people were tipping right and left to get their food first because there was only a limited amount of drivers. And it's like, if you tip the most, you're going to get the food first. During the height of those days, consumers started tipping for things they never had to do before. I agree. Meanwhile, if people were willing to give the person delivering food to their home a 30% tip for service, why not ask if they like the tip when they come to pick it up? Just like you did at Five Guys. Like, okay. Restaurants started doing that more often, and they practice. Now, I think I have a solution for this. All this, and by the way, shout out to Kellen Browning from New York Times. Amazing article yesterday. Please go check it out. He was in LA. It was the weekend that I was sick, Chris. We had all this figured out. We were going to hang out. We were going to do deliveries, and he was going to write the article. Well, he wrote the article anyway. He went to Pacific Palisades, picked himself 3 cherry pickers, and he wrote an amazing article about this tipping culture and all these drivers, how they're cherry picking. This guy picked like $400 worth of sushi and only got tipped $20, and he was disappointed. And a lot of different comments. However, here's my 2 cents when it comes to this, okay? The reason last mile delivery has become literally working for tips is because Uber Eats and DoorDash and Grubhub minimum base fares are down to $2 a delivery. How about this? How about we force the companies who are collecting a whole bunch of service fee, delivery fee, bullshit fee, that fee,
advertising fee,
all this stuff, and then paying the driver $2? How about you take some of that money as opposed to putting the pressure on the customer to tip in order for that trip or ride for me to be a profitable one? I mean, I see the point.
I agree right there.
If I'm taking $400 worth of sushi from this door, taking it to this door, should I expect that customer, because they probably paid $50 to $60 additional in charges, you know, service fee, delivery fee, all that shit, right? Should I expect that customer also to sit there and tip me 15, 20% of $400, which is $70, $80? No. My answer is no. I didn't make the food. I just picked it up here, dropped it off there. Now, to me, the reason tip culture is becoming this ridiculous is because employees or gig companies are not paying drivers enough when it comes to base rates, period. If Uber Eats paid me $10 for 2 miles, I would work for no tips whatsoever. But then if they do that, their unit economics is so bad that they're never going to make any money. So they take $20 from the customer, pay us $5 on the base side. And they want the customer to subsidize my earnings. Well, that's a bunch of BS, man. That's why tipping culture is out of what do you call it? Out of whatever.
I think the other aspect of the whole thing too is, you know, when it comes first, the question is, are the people who, or when you're tipping somebody at some of these places, are they actually getting it? Is the thing, because not always they're getting the tip. Sometimes that just goes to the owner or the manager or somebody.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that is one thing to know.
So yeah, that's a great question. Next time, you know, I'm going to go to a place that has the tablet, says, I'm picking up my own food. You just cooked it. But let's say, I'm going to ask that question. That's a great question. I go, yeah, I'm going to tip 15%. Who gets the money? The cook gets the money. The cashier gets the money. The house gets the money. I don't know. The owner gets the money. I don't know what's happening to that tip, right? Yeah, actually, that's a great question, bro.
Yeah, and that's I think part of that is some of the greed that people like restaurant owners see that and then say, oh, well, we can capitalize on that, and we could bring in some more money that way or something like that. And I think that's kind of how it started when you're getting these other places that all of a sudden are putting it on there. If they are sharing it with the house or if I'm sorry, if they're not taking it in the house and they're sharing it within their house, meaning all the people that are working there, that's one thing that's different. But some of these places I know they do not share it with the house. They keep the tip.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
And so that I think is part of it. And then you have other people who are seeing that, and then they're like, oh, well, our competition is doing that, we should do that too. And so you're getting this domino effect of everything where people are adding this tip where it wasn't customarily tipped. I only tip where it's customary, not where it's this new weird way of doing things. Like, I'm sorry, you're
100% agree with you. I'm going to do what you said, and next time I go, I'm forced to tip, and that's the last paragraph. It says here, to that point, 22% of respondents to the survey said when they are presented with various suggested tip amounts on that tablet, they feel pressure to tip. No shit. You look like an idiot if you don't tip there. You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't.
They're all going to go like, oh, let me spit in his food now before I hand it to him. And one other thing, put that up, like I keep calling him Norma. Jeff says, please do not forget that Uber and Lyft, Uber and DoorDash and Grubhub make up to 30% from the restaurants as well. So, hey, buddies, okay, DoorDash, Uber Eats, you charge the customer all these fees. You charge your restaurant the 30%, 15 to 30%, anywhere in that range. Okay, why don't you show us the money? Instead of, what was it like prevalent in the first days of rideshare, Chris? It was VC money, right? Venture capital money. And we were given all these bonuses, and they were spending on drunken sailors on drivers, right? Well, now
they also had to spend all their parties.
Yeah. Why are you forcing the customer to subsidize my earnings? Pay me from some of that 30%. Pay me some of that 20% you charge up front in service fees, delivery fees, city fees, whatever other fees you have, computer fees, whatever it is, credit card fees. Send me some of that, as opposed to forcing having the customer feel bad enough to tip for you. And that's the only way last mile delivery is a feasible idea.
Yeah, I you know what? I don't feel bad not tipping at non-customary tipper places. So
I don't either, honestly. I don't either.
I have
if I'm
no
buying a
problem
cup of
with it.
Starbucks, bro, I'm not going to tip you. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe other people are, but if I sit down, if I eat, all this stuff, if I take rideshare, I always tip. But my life is in your hands, man. Like, if I don't tip now, when the heck am I supposed to tip? I mean, you're driving me,
exactly.
you literally. So,
Wait, does that mean you should be tipping your pilot too?
Well, I think they're making enough. So if there was, then
No. I'm just being facetious there. But either way, I mean, for me personally, I tip where it's customary. I don't tip where it's not, and I don't have a problem not tipping. The other thing too is check those percentages because they tend to not be right. Either they may be taking it off the total of the bill, including the tax versus a subtotal. So it's not truly a 10% could truly be like 14%. But yeah, check your percentages there, because a lot of the time they're actually higher than, like, the dollar amounts will actually be higher than what the real percentage amount is. So if it says $4.34 at 15%, the reality is it might actually be like $3.78 at 15%. So that's another thing to watch when it comes down to it, because you might be getting more in that way. But I don't know. Beyond that, that's where I'm at.
I think it's out of control. Tipping is out of control. I mean, pay your employees and pay your drivers and pay your independent contractors well enough, so we don't need to have these arguments. And we see it all day long. DoorDash and this. And then drivers go and confront their customers saying, why didn't you tip? I'm like, that's none of your business, bro. I didn't tip, right? Don't take the order to start with. I mean, what else is there, right? But don't do that either. So it's out of control. Just please, let's fix this. Pay your drivers a decent amount as base fare, and then so we don't have to deal with this. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, and then it's just bonus on top of it.
Yeah.
But,
simple,
what if they just decide to not have to tip? Well, maybe because you don't have somebody there. Like, think about it this way. Let's say I go to McDonald's and I type in my little order on the keypad, and then a robot brings me my order and spits it out right where I just did. I don't have to tip anything right there. Well, what happens when robotaxis come for us and take our jobs? Are you going to tip the robotaxi?
I don't know, man. This is okay. Look, this is anyway. So robotaxis could take you anywhere. So in San Francisco, Waymo and Cruise are both actively driving people around, except that they were limited to like after 10 p.m. to I think 3 a.m. in the morning, and then they go home. It's because then morning rush hour hits and these cars don't know what the heck is going on. They block roads and doing all kinds of crazy shit. Okay, so I'm going like, okay. But now, city of San Francisco, as if San Francisco was all great. They had no other problems whatsoever. And I'm going like, a friend of mine just was in San Francisco. He goes, I was there before the pandemic. I didn't even recognize the city, Chris. He goes, it's a shithole. I go like, okay, whatever. All right. So now, robotaxis, which is, obviously Waymo and Cruise, are going to be able to work 24-hour days any time of the day, right?
Oh boy.
Yeah. So I'm like, we in the funnies we have something that because you guys are going to laugh about, but
yeah, that part that's gonna be funny.
Yeah, I go like this. How many pictures have we all seen?
The serious news part of it. Yeah, the serious news, other parts, the funny, but I say challenge accepted. Okay. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit, everybody.
Yeah, bro. So and then here's a couple of quick comments. But Cruise and Waymo still must navigate around potential roadblocks, including complaints about their vehicles making unexpected traffic clogging stops. And they all huddle, stops that
I think they're having their little meetup. They're having their way meetup.
I don't know what the hell's going on, bro. Just again, I keep saying this almost every show now. Just because you can build it doesn't mean we need it, but that's okay. So Cruise already has been charging people for driverless rides in less congested parts of San Francisco during nighttime hours, since June. Okay. Waymo has been giving free driverless rides on a broader swath of the city while awaiting clearance, this is the clearance now, begin charging passengers in robotic vehicles that Google secretly began working 14 years ago. Now, 14 years later, these things still have problems. Look, they're smart. I'm going to say this, they're probably safer than a human driver under certain conditions. I would love one of these to do a drop-off Sunday night at LAX. I would love one of these things to do. Yeah, it'll be like, no bueno. That thing will stop. It will not go anywhere. It'll be dead. And then meanwhile, dozens of other technology companies, automakers have joined in a race to develop self-driving car technology at a collective cost. Look at this, Chris. Look at this cost of $100 billion. Now, my math says, if I spent $100 billion first, at some point as an ROI, return on investment, I'd be thinking of making some money on this deal. I'm not saying profitable, some return. Okay, if I already am $100 billion in the hole, okay, I need to start getting paid back, and these are only like a handful of cars. Imagine. A whole fleet of thousands and thousands and thousands of these $50,000 to $80,000 a piece cars. How is this making any financial sense to all these Wharton MBAs that work at these companies? I am not sure. So you dump $100 billion in a hole. Before this is all done, dump another $100 billion in a hole. That's $200 billion. I think that I could have paid that to rideshare drivers and we'd be all good.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, I'm saying, there you go. So, and then he goes.
Here's the flip side of that. Let's say Uber, their goal is to get driverless cars in everywhere. Let's just say they have to spend all of the money to get the cars, and then they have to spend the money maintaining the cars and the gas or the electricity and everything that goes into the car. They have to fix the car because we all know the people that are at night when they're drinking, what they're going to be doing there, and those types of things. And then just the damages overall that are going to be happening.
Yeah.
And you add that to your $100 billion already investment. How long until they get their actual return back? Are they even looking for a return at that point?
No, I don't know.
My.
I think financially this doesn't make sense whatsoever. So a pair of AP Associated Press reporters witnessed the potential problems firsthand in mid-February after a Waymo vehicle safely transported them on a trip through San Francisco that required navigating a hilly terrain, turning in rush hour traffic and yielding to pedestrians darting in and out of the crosswalks. Okay, during one ride, though, the Robotaxi stopped in the middle of the street after AP reporters got out and remained there for several minutes while a line of human-operated cars stacked up behind it in morning rush hour. Imagine how pissed off those people are, biting on their nails or whatever. It turned out that the back door of the driver's side hadn't completely closed. See, boom. It's a good thing.
Right there. Way to fix that. You have the technology to open and close the tailgates on cars.
Yeah.
Put that technology in the doors.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
There you go.
But
I agree.
Tesla, they're quote unquote full self-driving. When you have that, some of the time they'll just stop on the middle of the highway. They'll just brake randomly in the middle of the fucking highway. So if you're behind a Tesla, be careful, like pass it, because it could just brake on you.
Yeah.
And you'll slam
what?
the back.
Okay, what do you think, Chris? What do you think? You think this is going to be like a commercially viable entity before our kids are ready to drive? Oh, your kids are young. My kids are ready to drive, and I don't think this is going to work out.
I heard, I believe it was in like 2004 or 7 or something like that. They're like, any kid born today will never know what it's like to drive a car. I call absolute bullshit. Then my kids weren't born until like a couple of years ago, and they're going to be driving cars. They may not drive manual, but they're definitely going to drive cars.
Yeah. Well, I think
what's funny is when I took the self-driving car in Vegas in 2019, it was June of 2019. 2 people in the car. You had your driver and you had your technician who was like manning the whole system and all that. Mind you, they already had all of Las Vegas like completely inch for inch tracked on their systems, and they still had to have 2 people.
Yeah.
Then on top of that,
I took one. I think 6 months ago in Arizona when I was there. excuse me, for a soccer tournament. Let me tell you something. This thing is amazing. Okay, I mean, I was initially scared, but I was like, "Holy crap!" However, it's not cheap. It's not going to be cheaper. Look at all this money they put in this thing, 100 billion, and then a fleet of 50,000 of these, which is nothing because we have how many rideshare drivers in the country? 2-3 million, right?
I think 5 million or something on Uber now.
Yeah, to get to that scale, imagine how much money capital they need to put this shit together. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? The driver is working less than the driver is working less than the autonomous vehicle anyway. You guys are paying in peanuts.
But
so keep doing
but the other thing, what's crazy though about the 2019 experience that I had, Steve Rideshare Rodeo just went to Vegas recently, and he was saying the exact same thing on one of his live streams a couple weeks ago, saying the exact same thing, that the exact same experience that he had was exactly what I had almost 4 years prior. So it's like, if you can't get that far ahead in 4 years, you're not making it work. No. And that was one of the I was in one of the Aptiv cars. I don't know what it is now. But honestly, it was the driver had to take over like a turn, a construction zone within the casinos because they can't drive on private property. So the driver was driving, I would probably say about 40% to 45% of the time when I was in that car. And I think Steve said it was something similar. Like it took a bad turn. They had to get out and like break the wheel or something, or break the tire.
I agree. And you know what? Look at this. There is Vanessa Battles. Thank you. But right before then, Do says, I don't think most of us will be driving in 10 years. I disagree.
Oh, this,
I think we'll all be
she's got a
driving.
good, she got a good question right here. How would they differentiate between a legal adult versus a child, or if one person orders a ride for someone else, which happens?
Great,
Yeah, and that does happen a lot.
great
So
question.
yeah, that is a
Great
good question there.
Yeah, the great question.
Honestly,
FYI, we're going to do this segment next, but you will understand how. But just to answer this right now, all these cars are going to have safety guards, such as that door was open, the car is not going to move. They're going to have cameras inside the car for it to see what the passenger is like. And I'm assuming now, I don't know the answer, but due to the camera system, if let's say, 8-year-old or 10-year-old or 12-year-old gets in the car is not going to move. It'll probably prompt, because they all have back seat screens on tablets, which you can follow your ride. Basically, the one I took in Arizona had it. It was a Chrysler Pacifica minivan, and it will probably notify that if it was my son and me. If I had just called the car and put just my son in the car for him to go to the soccer tournament, let's say, the car probably would not move and say, or call me or text me saying that verify your age and whatever. So yeah, there are bigger problems than that, though. What was her name?
Vanessa.
Yeah, the last super chat.
Yeah, Vanessa.
Yeah, okay. So what there's bigger problems than that, which we're going to identify in a minute.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now, actually, yeah, we're kind of sticking with the
order.
This whole type of thing with the autonomous vehicles and all that. So
yeah. Yeah. This is because right after this came out, like right after that article, this came out. Do you guys see how that little Chevy Cruze is smushed behind that bus?
Yeah. Well, the bus had to stop. They got to get
the bus
people
had
out.
to stop at some point, and then GM Cruise. This came out. Honestly, I think this was yesterday or the day before this article. GM Cruise unit issues fleet-wide recall. So, Mr. Do or Do you still think we're not going to drive in 10 years? Look at this thing, man. This thing can't even figure out it's a bus, let alone the human. Look at the front of that Cruise. It's just all smushed, that little bolt.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, there you go. Good luck.
It's crushed pretty good. But yeah. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, the growing pains. Honestly, the only way for I think that this to work effectively is to have the vast majority of cars on the road either being able to talk to each other in terms of saying like what they are, where they are, like giving their location every second, but also when you have the autonomous, they have to talk to each other to find out where they are, that type of stuff. I think that's on a large scale. I think that's the only way it's really.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that 100%. I'm with you. If all cars were like autonomous and they're talking to each other, networked or whatever, yeah, they will be a lot safer. But man, listen to me. Humans do crazy stuff, like jump in front of you. There all kinds of crazy stuff happens when humans are driving, right? They cut off, and this bus stopped, and this car figured, oh, it's not stopping. Let me just go smash this thing. And then the CEO of Cruise, Kyle Vogt, says the details of this week's crash were outlined in a blog post by the CEO of Cruise. According to him, look at this thing. According to him, the bus had driven in front of the Cruise vehicle roughly 1 block earlier. Okay, and it didn't figure out in 1 block that this thing was stopping. And taxi followed the bus, continuing its pre-existing route. The Robotaxi made an error when the bus stopped abruptly. Oh, okay. This happens a lot with humans. Yeah, they stop abruptly.
Oh, yeah.
Which resulted in the autonomous vehicle colliding into the back of the bus. There you go.
You know what? I have on my Pilot, I have the adaptive cruise control, which is actually pretty cool. Like, I'll have it set to like 75. And then I just let it go, and it will speed up and slow down where it needs to go according to the car in front of me. And I can put the distance. So it's pretty cool. And then it's got that stupid emergency brake, which is annoying as hell because it angers me every time I try.
Does yours have mine has the same thing, except that it reminds me to touch the wheel like every 10 seconds or 20 seconds.
Yeah, you got to do that. Like it has the stay in lane and all that stuff. So it's like pretend self-driving, but
This is hilarious, though.
You want to know? Yeah, I know. You want to know a fun fact though about the Buffalo NFTA and their CBA?
Go ahead.
Within their literally within their CBA, a bus driver can have 4 instances of running somebody over or killing them before they will get fired.
Oh my God.
So I'm sure that's in probably every other CBA as well too when it comes to a MTA or something. But either way, yeah, the Buffalo. I don't know if this is from years ago too. I don't know if they've changed their CBA, but last I heard, like years ago, yeah, you could run over or kill 4 people before you got fired.
That's bad, bro. But that's a thank you. But stick around. We'll have a segment coming up that you're going to laugh your socks off. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, there are bigger problems, Vanessa. There are bigger problems than underage minors getting in your car. Let me tell you, when these autonomous vehicles come around, people are going to do a lot of stuff in those cars, and here it comes up. There you go.
Oh yeah. But before that, we actually have a really crazy story.
Yeah.
This is, you sent me this, and I'm like, holy crap! When I read through this.
This is real.
You know, if this person had submitted this to show me the extra mile, Sunshine Award, they probably would have won. Sorry, Nathaniel, but they probably would have won. You would have came in a close second, but yes, this is where a Uber driver donated a kidney to a passenger. So you want to talk about somebody who went above and beyond? Literally, they gave them part of their self.
God, it's all on you, bro. I read this and I was like, I'm going like, this can't be real. I'm going like,
no.
I mean,
this
and
happened
then
in New Jersey.
This is real, bro. And yeah, this is all yours. I was shocked. It's Jeff, come on, buddy. You wouldn't give a kidney, would you?
I don't think Jeff would. I don't know. Unless
he's here. Jeff, will you give a kidney, Jeff? Will you give a kidney to your passenger or rider? Sorry, you don't say passenger. My daughter told me not to. Okay, there you go. See, you have a smart daughter. Yeah, you probably would, but
he probably would. Yeah. Yo, he lines up every month to donate plasma and blood. Come on.
Well, that's a different story, man. But no, this is. Maybe we should find this guy and give him the Sunshine Man award already for April.
Well, he's got to submit it to us. So if anybody knows Tim the driver. He's in Salem, New Jersey, or around that area. Yeah. Then let us know, because we gotta see. I mean, honestly, he would probably win April for sure. But either way, what ended up happening was a 73-year-old man received a kidney from his driver, and this was in October 21 when he was going for an Uber, or where he had an Uber for a medical appointment from his apartment or his appointment in Vinland to his home in Salem, which is about a 40-minute drive. So he introduced himself to the Uber driver and started general conversation. He told him about the procedure, and then he mentioned the effects of dialysis. And then, pretty much he got in and gave him a kidney, which was insane. First, you got to be a match, and second, just to have that thought process to say, yeah, I'll donate you a kidney, just in general. Holy crap.
I don't know what to say to this. I mean, I think you're an amazing human, but I don't think I would have given my kidney. I mean,
I wouldn't either. I'm sorry. Yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, kudos to everybody does. Actually,
I would maybe start. Okay, I would maybe start with a family member, kids, a wife or whatever, and then maybe push comes to shove. I mean, I don't want to make fun of it.
Hey, that's awesome to see, though. I mean, kudos to this guy for doing that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond that, I got no words. Man. I got no words.
And by the way, this story just happened. I had read this story like in 2021, right? So the process took this long, and the actual transplant just happened like last week. That's when the news came out. I had read about this, that he decided, but there's a process to this. You have to be a match. You have all kinds of issues as far as tissue matching and all that stuff, right? I mean, it's not that easy that you just take the kidney out of one guy, put it into the other guy, and then go on. So I'm
Yeah,
going
right.
like, hey man, you know, I mean, seriously, whoever, what was the driver's name? Tim Letts. Tim Letts.
Yep.
You know, I can Google you, probably I'll find you, but you know, I would give you the $100 right here. I mean, sorry, that's all we can give, buddy. But you know, I will definitely interview you for sure. So
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, you know, we've actually covered quite a few great
yeah,
drivers out there. I mean, not only this person Tim who donated the kidney, but the driver who donated or who was going to buy food for the homeless when they won $100,000 from the lottery. So like these
yeah,
things are happening, and it's
yeah,
really cool to
man.
see that. So congrats.
Yeah,
And then you know
yeah,
Nathaniel.
you all please watch Nathaniel's interview coming out on Thursday. Article, I'm not sure what next coming. I gave up on the article. It's in, but who knows where it's gonna land. It's gonna land somewhere. I don't know. But interview is the interview. Amazing interview. We both cried. Look at this guy. Look at it. Typical rideshare driver. Dallin, famous 422 OG. He goes, guys should have even went and tried it in the black market.
Oh,
Like,
come on.
come on, bro. Come on, man.
Come on.
Yeah,
We're trying to
actually,
make something nice. We're trying to say how somebody actually did something that was really
cutthroat.
nice for
All
somebody.
these
So
rideshare drivers are
above
also
and beyond.
cutthroat.
Well, you know, I mean, we had to definitely mention this, but we got to go back to our driverless cars. And
Yeah.
you know, one of the things, as we kind of alluded, some of the things that could potentially happen when it comes to a driverless car, and what happens when, you know, it's a little bit later at night and maybe had a few to drink, and you know, maybe that story that Jay had mentioned where there was somebody who was getting a little frisky in the back seat but got denied, or trying to get frisky in the back seat but got denied, may not actually be a problem coming up with these robotaxis.
This is the picture, man. I didn't Photoshop this picture, okay? This came out like this, so I'm not touching it, okay? Now, Chris.
Yes, that emoji, the eggplant emoji.
I
For
saw
those who are
it and I
listening, it's
started
the
laughing,
eggplant
and
emoji.
my mind immediately went where 99% of yours mind will go. So these robotaxis. So Vanessa, think about this. What if you have this robotaxi and two frisky people get in, and you know there's like a thing called Mile High Club, you know, that they do it in the airplanes up there, and I guarantee
About 40
it,
mile an hour club.
exactly. I guarantee it's going to happen. Okay,
Oh,
it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It's happening in San Francisco as we speak.
Is it?
This chat is live. Yes.
Oh shit! I'm sorry. Okay, so
No. I'm saying that, like, with the approval for them in San Francisco to have these cars going all the time, I'm saying right now, currently, somebody is getting frisky in the backseat of one of these driverless cars.
Possibly correct. Yes. So
I'm gonna say,
yeah. So this Utopian comes from Utopia, but Utopian did a trademark search on what GM is basically trademarking or getting what do you call those things? Anyways, well, you know, just like Apple does, just like Google does, they just throw a patent. They're applying for all these patents. So they went to the patent office.
writers, great common app writers.
Yeah, they did a search, and then they came up that Cruise, which is that little car that bounced into the into the bus. Not in they didn't have any problems.
Yo, it was called just the tip.
I'm done. I can't do it.
Okay, but either way, the patent is that they're talking about mobile changing rooms or other things. So it says, however, brick and mortar stores typically don't move, so GM needed to provide privacy to riders searching for clothes. Expect side glass made of the variable tint electrochromatic glass seen in the sunroofs on high-end cars, along with automatic disabling of rider monitoring cameras to maintain privacy. Which, I mean, if you're changing in the car, yeah, absolutely should be. In addition, it seems that most cases, cruise vehicles won't just so happen to have a wide array of clothes on deck. Users will be able to order clothes to try on through an app. Then the cruise AV will collect those clothes from a local retailer, deliver them to you.
Why?
And then you can try the clothes in the vehicle. I don't know why, but what I'm going to say is,
Beth, thank you, Beth. Why?
Beth,
why?
Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I'm thoroughly indebted to both of you for all I learned. Much love. Well, I hope we improved just a little bit of your earnings and keep you sane on the road, because we thank you for your service, what you do for all the passengers. And, you know, honestly, we're just doing this for you guys. Seriously. I mean, you know, more than the money, obviously we get paid, but it gives me so much satisfaction to meet all of you and to do this week after week after week. But meet people like you, Nathaniels and Jeffs and the other Jeff and Beth and Vanessa, not because they donated, it's because they're such amazing people that they watch and learn, adapt, apply, boom, 20% more earnings in the same goddamn hours. There you go. That's what we're after. So back to this story. Would you ever try clothes in the back of a little freaking golf cart, bro? This is what that is.
I like to stand. I mean, first of all, if you
I'll
ever
be
got
cramping, bro.
I mean,
I'll be
if
cramping.
you ever,
I'll be like dead.
Have you ever seen Bad Santa?
Yes.
Bad Santa.
Yes.
You know the dressing room scene.
Yes.
Well, there you go. It's the same thing here. But yeah, I would. I mean, how is it comfortable to get changed in a car? It's not very comfortable.
Why can't
I've
you
done
go to
it before,
a freaking store and change your clothes and buy some shit there? Why do you have to do it in the back of a car?
I don't know.
Okay, anyway, but this story goes further. Obviously, you guys see the eggplant there. So what does that say? Because I read some comments that were hilarious, like just a tip, things like that. You know, you guys are horrible. I love every one of them because I'm going to keep those. But so besides this, Cruise is getting patents not only for you to change clothes and buy clothes in the back of the car while you're autonomously being driven. Like, why? But then comes the next part, which is more of the human necessity part of the autonomous vehicle. And, yeah, and you know what? I'll bet you we could create a great YouTube channel by downloading all those, you know, all those.
Oh, that'd be great.
So what's more is mobile fitting room idea, blah, 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 blah. So mobile fitting room idea, horrible idea, GM. I don't know how many millions you spent on patents on the lawyers on this. It's a garbage idea. Please trash it. Yeah.
You know, it goes back to that comment you said earlier. You know, just because we can do it doesn't mean we have to.
Exactly. Just because we build it doesn't mean we need it. It's like,
yeah. Put the money. So, you know what? I got a better idea.
Yeah.
A friend of mine had a 2007 Chevy Cruze. Okay. It was dog shit. 2006. In 2007, I'm sitting in her car and she's driving. We're going, I don't know, Dunkin' Donuts or something. Her car, part of the paneling is already wearing off. You know what? Take the money that you're putting into this patent or any extra money that you're putting into this car, put it back into your own cars to make them better, because your cars suck. Literally, I will never own a GM in my life unless you do something drastic to change it, because they are dog shit cars.
Oh boy. Hey, he said it. Do not send me the email. He said it. Not me.
I will 100% stand against it. And I have family that works at GM, and I tell them all the time, your cars suck.
I get all the bullshit emails sent to him to me. So, but send it to him. Okay. So
if you like the complaint department, you can go to us.
So if that eggplant emoji was not enough for you guys, we're gonna read this now. There's no way around it. People will absolutely get sexual inside these autonomous vehicle fitting rooms. I'm like, okay.
And the challenge accepted.
I'm gonna die. If I don't die today, I'm dying. In the words of Jason, or whoever, I think Jason's the article, the author of the article. I would never buy an AV. Now, sir, you will never be able to buy an AV. Well, you could, but I don't see the reason, because these things are going to zip you around for a lot cheaper than you buying your own AV. Okay. So I would never buy an AV. I wouldn't wank in ever. More importantly, these Cruise AVs could act as a third space of sorts. As reported by USA Today, look at these Gen Xers and Gen Zers, bro. Or what are they called? Millennials? As reported USA Today, 47% of young adults still lived in their in their parents' basement before COVID-19 lockdowns. Yeah. You guys need to make.
And I'm sure worse now, because there's the housing market is skyrocketed and inflation even worse.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? And then This 47% is probably 60% now. Yeah, get out of your mother's basement. Let's see, get into the real world. You know, when there is no space for all this stuff that you guys are worried about. You know what I'm saying? And hooking up at home is risky. Obviously, if you're 25 and you're taking a date home and your mama is in the next room, I mean, if you're hooking up with the girl, okay, all right.
Did you ever see Grandma's Boy?
No, I haven't seen that one.
The movie. Oh, there's so basic premise. I'm not going to give any spoilers away. It's a hilarious movie, especially if you decide to have a little fun beforehand and then you know, sit back and relax.
Yeah.
Because you can, but why not? But the premise is he got kicked out of his apartment because his friend didn't pay the rent, and I'm not going to give why, but then he went to his friend's house, and his friend was living at home with his parents, and he kept calling him, "Oh, my roommates," and he was acting like a big kid, like he had a race car bed, and he's like, "Oh, I want to get a CB radio for so I could talk to other CB car beds and you know, and stuff like that," and it's like, yeah, my roommates don't mind that you're here, stuff like that. So it's just like, oh man,
you know, Chris, I'm serious, man. You know what? We have so much fun on this doing this, but we know this is gonna. Did I die? Oh no, we know this is gonna happen, right? We know people are gonna get frisky. We know they're gonna have sex.
Oh, 100%,
right?
100%.
Well,
I'm telling you, these driverless cars, there's I guarantee you, somebody in San Francisco, if they're out tonight, they're definitely going to be a little freaky in there.
Yeah. So
the other thing too is when it comes to this, you know, the body does excrete some things, so you might want to be careful. You might want to bring a towel or something down on these AVs out there. Just a thought. But you know what? Actually, I do want to give somebody in the comments a shout out. Spencer Fred, who is making a couple of comments. We are, you know, I did see a couple of yours where they are talking about bone marrow and volunteers and stuff like that. So, I mean, if anybody does want to, there's always a shortage of things. So I would definitely say, if you're interested in that, I definitely want to give a shout out to him, what he was talking about. But not only that, yes, try, you know, donating whatever you can, wherever you can, when you can, if you want to be somebody who does that. Because there is always shortages and there are needs for it, especially in people in need who, you know, could be saved from that. So just wanted to say that. Sergio, did we lose you? I think you got frozen. You there, Serge? I don't know. Blacked out. But either way, that was actually the end of our show. So, I mean, other than that, I'm not sure if Sergio is going to make it back on. He's probably going to try to, at least to get the sign off. But either way, we are going to have our episode 52 next week, our 1-year anniversary. So make sure you join that. We're going to have quite a few of our RSG contributors. I believe Harry's going to be coming on, Kim, Zach, Jay is going to come back on, a few other people as well too. Probably stop in. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a couple of drinks, throw back. Hopefully Harry will send us that whiskey, that Japanese whiskey we can have for our 1-year anniversary show. But if not, we'll definitely have a couple of drinks on hand. So if you guys are in the chat and want to have a couple of drinks too, make sure you grab it before. Next week is that show. Also tomorrow is the Money Hungry show with Kim and Zach. So make sure you check that out. They're going to be dealing a lot with rideshare, food delivery, last mile delivery. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said rideshare. With food delivery and last mile delivery. And then also, yeah, Nathaniel's story is going to be on Thursday. So make sure you check that out. And those who do get emotional, you might get a little cry action going. So have a couple of Kleenex nearby just in case. So yeah, definitely with that. Sergio, I'm still not sure where he is, but he didn't text me, so I don't know what's going on. He may have lost power or something. So either way, I'm not sure. But hope you guys had a great show with everything. A lot of crazy stuff. But yeah, when it comes down to the algorithm and all of this, when it comes to DK's PR stunt, whether you think it is or not, let's see what happens if anything comes from that. With that being said, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Have a great week. We'll see you next week on Show Me the Money Club for our 1-year anniversary show, and that will be a lot of fun.